समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
India is absolutely shocked by the decision of the Delhi High Court to suspend the life imprisonment of former BJP MLA Kuldeep Singh Sengar, someone who had been convicted for rape and sentenced to an entire life in jail. In case you're wondering, what is so uniquely shocking about this judgment? Because public memory is short, let me remind you of the horrors of what actually happened in the Unnao rape case. This is about a minor girl who was raped when she went to meet with her local MLA Kuldeep Singh Sengar for a job. She has then alleged that she was gang raped by men linked to him. Her father was killed in police custody. She had to write personally to the Chief Justice. She had to attempt self-immolation outside the residence of the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister. Two of her aunts, she and her lawyer, were injured in a car accident, a mystery car accident. The lawyer died from the crash injuries. She eventually got justice only to find the life sentence now suspended a few years ago. How did this happen, and why has the Delhi High Court delivered such a verdict? I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. On the program today, we look at the shocking High Court verdict that has suspended the life sentence of Kuldeep Singh Sengar, a former BJP MLA. He was expelled from the party after he was found guilty and convicted for rape. Sengar was a four-time MLA, and today the High Court of Delhi has given him relief on the grounds, and one of the main grounds is that an MLA is not a public servant, and that was one of the key interpretations of the trial court order. So essentially, on what seems to me to be a bizarre technicality, a man convicted of rape, a man whose henchmen have been linked to a series of other deaths, including the father of the Unnao rape survivor who was found dead in police custody, that man is today getting relief from the Delhi High Court. And to add insult to injury, the images that you see on your screen are that of the Unnao rape survivor, her mother, and activist Yogita Bhayan protesting late last night in the national capital. They wanted to draw attention to the consequences of this High Court verdict. And instead, you can see the police is dragging and pulling them, forcibly pulling them away from the protest site. There's something so absolutely terrible about these images on your screen. So what happens next, and why has this happened at all? Let me introduce our panel today. I want to welcome to the program Mahmood Paracha. I'm waiting for him to be introduced. There he is. I can see Mr. Paracha there. Mahmood Paracha is the lawyer of the Unnao rape case survivor, and I thank him for his time. And I'm also joined on the program by Justice Sanjeev Banerjee. He has been the Chief Justice of both the Meghalaya and the Madras High Court. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. We'll have other voices in the program. I have also spoken personally with the Unnao rape survivor who has shared with me a very, very moving testimony of how she wanted to take her own life, but how she's now determined to fight, and she still believes that justice will prevail. I want to get first comments from you, Mr. Paracha. I went through the 53-page judgment of the Delhi High Court, and I cannot understand why they're so fixated on whether Sengar as an MLA was a public servant or not. What is this about? What is happening? And why is this being at the center of the verdict, according to you?
Well, if I want to criticize this judgment, I can write books and books and books. But that is not the time. But long and short of this case, why this judgment needs to be read by people of India and praised or criticized in consonance with the concept of open courts is the following. Bail is a rule and jail is an exception, while an accused is an accused. That is, there is no conclusion of trial. Once the trial is concluded, this thing reverses. Jail becomes a rule and releasing him becomes an exception. Why? Because the person is now confirmed at this stage as a convict. So those rights are gone. Then section 389 CRPC. There is a proviso also which clearly mandates that it is not absolutely mandatory to release a convict on bail. If the public prosecutor opposes, then it is only the discretion of the court. By discretion I mean mercy of the court, which should entitle him to bail. However, a finding of this nature has to come that this judgment of conviction is so perverse that it needs to be trashed, without going into actually the merits of the case, which is clearly prohibited at the time of suspension of sentence. Now, if Mr. Kuldeep Singh Sengar deserves mercy of this division bench or any court whatsoever, and I am constrained to cite the background of this case, he raped this girl who used to be calling him as Bada Dada, like elder brother of a father, rapes, and to suppress her voice so that the family does not complain to the police, kidnaps, gets the girl kidnapped and gang rapes, organizes a gang rape. Thereafter, the matter does not finish there. He gets his father killed, for which he is facing conviction in another case, by having him arrested in a false case, and while he is in custody, the police, the SHO, who is an accused in that case, thrashes him so badly that the injuries leads to his death. The matter does not finish there. Supreme Court takes cognizance of this and FIR is registered after the father is killed. Thereafter, this girl, while she is going to attend a court along with his lawyer and other relatives, is overrun by a truck, which also the beneficiary obviously is Mr. Kuldeep Singh Sengar. 3 people died, including the lawyer and 2 of the relatives. She barely survived. I don't know how. It is only a matter of luck and chance that she is living today. Yes, but this court finds, and that is the biggest criticism, that Mr. Kuldeep Singh Sengar deserves mercy of this court. Why? Because the court is having so much workload that it cannot decide the appeal of the convict in a timely fashion, and there is a possibility of further evidence also. So, because of our own fault, rather than expediting the trial, if they had to protect the rights of the convict, and convict of what nature, therefore we want to release him on bail because he is entitled. Otherwise, this Article 21 will be violated, meaning thereby, if this person deserves mercy of the court, then I don't think any other case in the country, I have not come across a case so horrendous as this one. Then I think no person who is convict of any rape, much less any pedophile who rapes and organizes a gang rape of a child, should be not released on suspension of sentence, despite the fact that the law reverses its stand. That is in nutshell. And the security which has been provided
Yeah.
by the Honorable Division Bench is that we will ensure, we will put a condition that he will not come within 5-kilometer range of this victim. That is safety enough. However, we know that her father was killed by police officers at the behest of this convict. So he will not at least come and physically kill the girl and her family members, although his henchmen will. That is the logic of this judgment and some substance of this judgment. And if that is the case, then I don't want to comment even one word more than that. Some people are saying that I should immediately rush to Supreme Court. It's a very lucrative point, but I don't want to do it consciously, because central government is working against us openly.
Why do you say that? Why do you say
central
that?
Government, yes, thank you very much for this very good question. Central government and the state government, Uttar Pradesh government, have moved applications after applications, hiring best top shot lawyers to get the security withdrawn of this girl and the family members. They were successful in getting the security withdrawn of the family members. Next day, the house was attacked in Delhi. FIR was registered. This girl was haunted on social media, and FIR was registered. And you can understand, if police registers an FIR, how much evidence would there be? Delhi police and Uttar Pradesh police.
Yeah, the reason
thereafter another FIR has been registered that the girl was offered some money. You withdraw from this case, otherwise you will be killed. Next day, there is a murderous attack on the husband. Yet this person deserves mercy of the court because Article 21 is getting violated. So unless Supreme Court in its suo moto jurisdiction, and you cannot say that Supreme Court suo moto jurisdiction is over because there is some lapse of time. The Supreme Court is duty bound, according to my very humble opinion, to take suo moto cognizance of this case, because it was proceeding under suo moto, and take the necessary action, not just in this case, but sensitize the honorable judges that do not only depend on the letter, go for the spirit of the acts and see the devil lies in details, not in abstract words, judgments, and abstract documents.
I have just a brief question. I also want to welcome Suzy Ben Shah of the Eknath Shinde Shiv Sena group with us. You said, Mr. Paracha, that the center and the state governments have worked against the Unnao rape survivor whom you are representing. But in the court, the CBI does oppose the suspension of this life sentence. The CBI does not support it. The CBI wants Sengar to remain in jail for life. Isn't that correct?
Perfunctory. Even another interesting fact, the trial court has given a finding for your viewer that the IO of this case, which IO? Who was appointed after the Supreme Court directed transfer of the case and transfer of investigation to CBI. That IO was hand in glove with Mr. Kuldeep Singh Sengar, and he was working overtime to get him manipulate the case and get evidence which is in his favor on, and he was helping him through and through. Another interesting fact, that doesn't end there. It's not so. So I don't make such kind of statements without abundance of proof. In this very appeal, because one lawyer who was appearing for CBI, who was trying to justify to some extent, to some very little extent, his role as a public prosecutor, and probably because of that, there is an opposition. He is no more. He was no more in the case. Either he resigned or he was removed from the case. That is the sum and substance. Therefore, we are saying central government, state government, CBI is working directly against us, and then Commission of Women Commission of Delhi.
I'll get Suzy Ben to react to that, but first I must get a judicial perspective, Mr. Paracha, from Justice Banerjee. Justice Banerjee, with all your experience, I'm a bit confused by this verdict, and I'm frankly horrified by the verdict. Justice Banerjee, can you hear me, sir? Are you able
Yes.
to hear me? Okay. I'm saying I'm personally quite horrified by this verdict, but just understanding it or trying to be unemotional and trying to understand it, on law. The verdict, the court seems to make the argument that when the trial court sentenced Kuldeep Singh Sengar to a life in jail, he was deemed to be a public servant, and hence some particular sort of clauses of the law applied. They have now decided that that nomenclature was wrong for an MLA. They have basically said an MLA is not a public servant. And the other point that they have said is that the threat to life to somebody cannot be a reason to keep somebody else in jail. While bail in itself may not have been the big horror of this verdict, the suspension of the life sentence is. Entirely, it seems, on the grounds that an MLA is not a public servant. Could you please shed some light on whether this makes judicial sense to you?
Well, to begin with, the little that I've read of the judgment, I definitely wouldn't have passed that order. There is an element of discretion which a judge enjoys. There's an element of, overall circumstances which have to be borne in mind. I find this order to be probably not sustainable. At the same time, you can't attribute any motives like it has been done. I know Justice Prasad to be a fair, honorable, and upright judge. It could have been a mistake in judgment. As to the point of public servant, the judgment has relied on a Supreme Court decision, which is clearly applicable. That part of the trial court judgment may have been in error, but to discuss the appeal and the merits of the matter and to find it in palpable error in such circumstances is somewhat confusing. I don't think this order was warranted in the facts and circumstances of the case. Even if you keep the public servant part of it outside, I don't think this was warranted at all.
You say, Justice Banerjee, that given the circumstances, the details available, actually a timeline of horror. I mean, if you look at this, the series of, the fact that this woman's father was killed in police custody, the postmortem actually revealed 14 injuries, including abrasions. The fact that two of her aunts and her lawyer eventually died from a car crash. The fact that she had to attempt self-immolation outside the Chief Minister's residence. She got a fast track only when she wrote to the then Chief Justice of India. I think what I'm hearing you say is, given all of this available as information to the court, this is an order that you believe is not sustainable. You may not impute motives to the judges, but you believe this is not an order you can agree with.
No, this is not something that should have been done, because only in cases where you see, as it has been rightly said, that bail is the rule at a pre-conviction stage. At the post-conviction stage under Section 389, bail is not the rule. The rule is jail. And there must be exceptional circumstances for a man to be bailed out or his sentence suspended. And the circumstances in this case, nothing, I do not find a single point in favor of the convict for him to get this extraordinary judicial mercy, whatever discretion, whatever you call it.
So why do you think it's happened?
I do not know. Error of judgment. Maybe the public servant part of it weighed too much with the court. But this is certainly something which is quite disturbing.
It is indeed disturbing. And Susie Ben, I want to bring you in now as a political leader who's part of the ruling alliance. The allegation has been made by the survivor's lawyer that the central government and the state governments were working against the victim, or I should say the survivor, and that the CBI's position in court that they opposed the suspension of the life sentence was merely perfunctory. How do you respond, ma'am?
I think very good evening to all, and I would like to say this, that I stand here today to support the basic contention that this is the rarest of the rare cases and should be treated as such, and the government, whether it be the Shiv Sena, the NDA, will ensure that justice prevails and the life imprisonment stands. Now, a division bench of Delhi High Court has given an order. Now, whether the appeal should have been heard first instead of rushing for a suspension, it is a suspension. Let us understand, he's a convict. He's not been acquitted. But whether appeal should have been heard before or this order should have passed, now we have to leave it to the wisdom of the division bench of a High Court judge. Then to cast aspersions, you see, on loose comments. It is so easy to say that he's been sold, he's corrupt, judicially, you are richer than you are, judicially can be bought. That is not right, Barkha.
No, nobody said that on this program. Nobody said that on this, ma'am.
No, the lawyer,
Nobody has said it on this program.
No, the lawyer, my learned friend, he mentioned that the intentions of the CBI and the state government machinery are questionable. Then there are procedures available. To say that the IO has joined hand with the convict, I think without proof, to make such statements, I think it is not correct, Barkha. While we might disagree, I also completely surprised and rather shocked also that such a order has been passed by the Honorable Division Bench of the High Court. But now we have to rely on the wisdom. But there are appeal available to it. It can be taken to the Supreme Court. We should fight it, and I have no doubt in my mind. That as far as the government is concerned, we stand steadfastly for the dignity of the victim, and we will support her in all aspects.
Okay, before we come to the specifics,
it is no political protection. It is just a judicial procedure, Barkha. That is what
so you are saying that this order, it's for the courts to explain that the BJP and its allies have nothing to do with it. Is that your position?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Pracha, brief response there, because I do want to play out the statement of the survivor to us.
I just want to clarify one thing. This is not my opinion that IO of the CBI was helping Kuldeep Singh Sengar. It is the finding of the trial court, which the High Court has not set aside as of now. Supreme Court has moved an application for getting those. It is not my word. It is the finding of the trial court.
Okay, let's. I know Susie Ben will have a response to that. So will Justice Banerjee. But let's think for a moment of a young woman who goes to her MLA for a job. As Mr. Pracha said, she looked up to him as an elder of the community. She goes to him for help. She is raped. Because that is, by the way, as Susie Ben said, Kuldeep Singh Sengar is not an accused, he's a convict. He's a rape convict. Let's be very clear. His life sentence has been suspended. He's not been deemed an innocent man. He is raped. I just want to reiterate these details. She is raped. A few days later, she says she's abducted by 3 men linked to Sengar, and she is gang raped. Her father is then arrested on some trumped up charges, and he is found dead in police custody. The post-mortem shows that there are 14 injuries on his body, including abrasions. The police at the time claimed that it's quote-unquote a prison riot. The lady then attempts self-immolation outside the residence of the Chief Minister. She writes to the Chief Justice of India. The Chief Justice of India orders a fast-track court. The fast-track court then gives her justice. But in the middle of all of this, her 2 aunts and her lawyer are traveling in a car, and the car is hit by a truck. The 2 aunts die. The lawyer eventually dies. This is what it has taken this young woman to get justice. And then 5 years later, she finds that the man who did this to her, his life sentence is suspended. And when she comes out on the streets to protest, the police drag her as if she is the criminal. I want to play out what she said to me. We have a longer interview, but she did say that when the order first came, she thought of killing herself there and then she had to think of her 2 children, and she had to think of the fact that she wants to continue to fight. Take a look, and we'll come right back for more comments. Abhi, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे देश के लोगों को? क्या सोच रही हैं आप? क्या लग रहा है?
मुझे सभी मीडिया भाई बंधुओं से निवेदन है कि मेरी आवाज दूर दूर तक पहुंचाई जाए। मेरे साथ में 23 तारीख को मैं कोर्ट गई थी, हाई कोर्ट गई थी, और मैंने जजमेंट सुना। मुझे बहुत दुख हुआ। मुझे लगा मैं यहीं पे सुसाइड कर लूं, लेकिन मैंने अपने 2 बच्चे, अपने परिवार के बारे में सोचा कि हमारे मासूम से बच्चों ने क्या बिगाड़ा जो बिना माँ के हो जाएंगे। लेकिन इस फैसले से हमें बहुत दुख है, क्योंकि ये हमें ही नहीं, हमारे जैसे बहुत सारी बेटियां हैं देश में, उनके साथ रेप होता है, 2 साल की बच्ची के साथ रेप होता है, 3 साल बच्ची के साथ रेप होता है, 5 साल बच्ची के साथ रेप होता है, 9 साल बच्ची के साथ रेप होता है, उसे मार दिया जाता है, पुलिस प्रशासन के सामने जला दिया जाता है, फिर भी उन दरिंदों को सजा होगी, उसके बाद में उनके वकील उनकी जो भी है बाहर ले आते हैं। तो ऐसे रेप के आरोपी को तो डायरेक्ट फांसी होनी चाहिए, डायरेक्ट मौत के घाट उतारना चाहिए। लेकिन इस सरकार में तो दरिंदगी बहुत ज्यादा हो गई है।
So she's obviously angry and upset, Suzy Ben, and you can understand. I mean, think of what she's been through. She's talking about considering taking her own life. She says she had to remind herself that she has 2 young children. Look at the images. You know, last night I saw these images, and honestly, I am not interested in BJP, Congress, Samajwadi Party, Uttar Pradesh. Like, I don't care. I care as a woman that this young woman is sitting with her mother on protest and she's being dragged away in this fashion. What should she do now? Can you imagine being this woman? Can any of us imagine being this woman? How could the Delhi High Court forget what she must have gone through?
No, you are absolutely right. The way our lady has been treated, our survivor has been treated, is absolutely condemnable. And as I said, I'm in no mood to support the court order, but I'm here only to clarify and emphasize that he continues to be a convict. He is not acquitted. He is an accused suffering double life imprisonment, right? And that is the only lacuna here I see by the Delhi High Court. And I wish the appeal was heard before, instead of having the suspension before, because you should have heard the appeal. The suspension is pending the appeal. So therefore, I think there is some misinformation. Maybe the honorable judges were misled. I cannot speak the mind of the honorable benches, right? But it is a mere suspension. It is a judicial remedy available. It's a pause. It is a judicial process. And therefore, I do hope that this order is challenged and he's sent back to the jail. And I would also like to say this: every Monday he has to present before the police station. Well, I'm not saying that is some kind of relief to our survivor, but the court also has given that he has to be present every Monday before the police station, cannot come before the 5 kilometers. But he's a criminal, he's a convict, so nothing can be past him. I agree. I completely agree. But this, ladies and gentlemen, and through your show, I want to say that he's not acquitted. He's a convict. He will meet life imprisonment. He will not see the sunlight for the rest of his life. That is the order given, and it will stand in the court of law.
Why are you so confident that this is only a temporary pause in what he has to face?
That is a judicial procedure, Barkha. It is a judicial procedure which has been relied upon by the honorable bench of the Delhi High Court.
Okay, I want Justice Balaji on that. Okay, once again, Mr. Pracha, very briefly, because you made this allegation that the center and the state have not been supporting the victim, the survivor, and you heard somebody from the NDA say that she wants that Kuldeep Singh Sengar does not see sunlight for the rest of his life. She's not here to endorse or support or rationalize anything. She just purely believes that this is a court response. Now, my question to you is, should your anger not be directed at the bench? The bench could have taken all of this material and interpreted it completely differently, like the trial court did.
See, one thing is crystal clear. To be fair to the honorable lady, that is the precise reason why suspension of sentence should not have been granted, and that is the precise reason why the CBI counsel who opposed this should not have been removed. And that is the precise reason why the CBI should, who has got the first right to appeal in Supreme Court? Not me. Complainant is it is always the state, public prosecutor versus state versus, we are just doing the job which is not being done by the CBI. I led the entire argument. If you see in this judgment also, the CBI just supported me. It should have been the other way around. And lastly, the most important point is that he is a convict. But the game plan is that this appeal will never be heard now. For 20 years, I can guarantee that. 30 years, I can guarantee that.
After all,
That is
the Chief Justice of India. It was, sorry, I just wanted to say, but actually let Justice Banerjee respond. Mr. Pracha believes that it's a tariq pe tariq sort of strategy. That's his cynicism. I should say it was the Chief Justice of India.
Not cynicism, Barkha. This is the precise reason why the suspension of sentence has been granted.
Okay.
That appeal cannot be heard. That's the precise reason. It's not my cynicism.
Okay, I just wanted to make the factual point that this survivor wrote to the Chief Justice of India. I think it was in 2019, and it was then with the Chief Justice of India's intervention that the case was fast-tracked. Justice Banerjee, you have said very bluntly that you would not have passed this order, that given the circumstances and the details available, this order is not sustainable. You don't want to impute motives to the judges. You think it might be an error of judgment. But I'm still going to ask you, because I am mystified. From any prism, how does it matter whether Kuldeep Sengar was a public servant or not? I know that the trial court made that the basis for applying a particular provision of the POCSO Act and sentenced him on that basis. But to anybody, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just applying my common sense. This is a mere technicality. This is not the spirit of the law. This is really not the spirit of the law. So I'm really surprised. How can pages of an order be devoted to arguing whether an MLA is a public servant or not?
No, madam. There's a slight correction over there.
Okay.
There is a sexual offense under the relevant statute, and there is also aggravated sexual offense.
Yes.
The aggravated sexual offense gets a much larger sentence. And whether it is aggravated or not depends on certain circumstances. Being a public servant is one of them. So it is an important factor. Being in the position of a guardian is another. That is also a key factor as to what the sentence can be. Unless it's aggravated, it couldn't have been sentenced to life without any chance of coming out before his natural life term ends. So therefore, it is important in what the quantum of the sentence would be. But having said that, and I have been greatly, relieved at the stand taken by the Honorable Lady on behalf of the government. And the CBI should be seen running to the Supreme Court to get this overturned. Why has that not happened yet? That would, kind of prove that she's serious on behalf of the government, that the government stands by the survivor. The CBI should have. This order should not. It's a slur on our system, and it's the image that we have, that we only penalize and punish the poor in this country, gets more established by judgments like these. And the other fact is that we really do not have the resources for deciding appeals on time. You go on criticizing the court system, but the system is such we do not have the physical or the human resources for appeals, particularly criminal appeals, to be decided within reasonable time. And the learned lawyer, his apprehension that this might not be heard for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, till the convict is dead, is a genuine and possible, scenario.
Yeah.
Given that should have been one of the reasons which should have weighed with the court in refusing rather than granting suspension.
You've said two really strong things that I want to repeat. One, you have said that if the CBI does not agree with the suspension of the life term, which is a position they took in the court, they should be seen to be running to the Supreme Court to appeal this order. The second thing you have said is that this is a slur on our system. Susie Ben, you have said, and I really respect you for that you are not here in any way to do anything but to stand in solidarity with the survivor. And you hope that Mr. Sengar will never see beyond a life in jail. In that case, how do you respond to Justice Banerjee's very good, excellent point that by now we should have seen a statement from the CBI? Please forgive me if there's such a statement and I have missed it, saying we're appealing this order.
I think that is the next step, the next natural step to be taken by the CBI. And if it is not done so far, I'm sure within the next days you will see. And if not, you are there to question. You are no wonder you are the fourth pillar of the democracy, and you will ensure that such steps which are necessary is brought to the notice of CBI. So will I. I am a lawyer. I've served as the chairperson of Maharashtra Women's Commission, and I do believe that a great wrong will be done to our survivor if this particular order is not appealed against. So we will spare no efforts. Whether CBI,
I'm very relieved to hear you take the position that you have. But Mr. Pracha is not convinced. Now, here's my question to you, Mr. Pracha. As we speak, the survivor has met with Rahul Gandhi and she has told media that she would like to meet with the Prime Minister. How do we ensure that this case transcends the usual BJP versus opposition politics? You have an NDA representative here. She says she wants this verdict appealed. Why would you not take that at face value?
Because of the behavior which the CBI has been indulging, and I've just quoted one. Even if the CBI goes there, it will be only to help him. That's my apprehension. The case which will be argued by CBI will be only to strengthen the argument of the Mr. Kuldeep Singh Sengar, not the other way around. That's my apprehension. They have to correct it. And I'm requesting people of this country and everybody, it is not between BJP and Congress, and they should not be, political party leaders should not be involved in this. We will lose out. They have their own agendas. If it is made up Congress versus BJP, we will lose. I am very categorical in this.
This has to transcend party politics.
I am saying it will be the worst thing if Congress picks it up. It will be the worst thing, or any opposition political party picks it up. It will be the worst thing for this victim. It is between people of India and our institutions. It is between people of India and our institutions, nobody else.
So do you disagree
Congress
with,
people?
So do you disagree with Mr. Gandhi meeting with the survivor?
No. The survivor will go and do. She's desperate. She's crying, and I can't sleep. I should not be saying all this. It's not emotion. I cannot face the mirror because I hold myself personally responsible for not being able to convince the honorable judges, despite such a strong case. But if opposition political party leaders get into this, it will be most detrimental to the interest of this. She did not tell me that she's going to Mr. Rahul Gandhi or whosoever. I would not have approved this. I'm saying this categorically. It is between people of India and the people who are involved, and that is central government and Uttar Pradesh government and CBI. It is between people of India and them, and not between any other third party.
So you're saying if she had consulted you as her lawyer, you would have said,
I would have advised not to go there. I would have definitely, but with a restraint, because she's in such a condition. No, she's saying, Mr. Pracha, can you guarantee that I will live next 5 minutes? I have no answer. They will kill me. They will kill my family. My family is protectionless. My uncle is in jail. I am facing a criminal charge. I will die in next 5 minutes. Can you guarantee? So I cannot stop her from going XYZ. But in my opinion, if opposition political parties take it, that will be the worst part. It is between people of India and our institutions. We have to face them directly now.
Okay, Susie Ben, I would imagine you would agree with that. I actually think it's a mature position for a lawyer to take. Politicians, stay out. Express your solidarity, keep out. Because you know what happens? You know what happens after that? Sexual violence, abuse gets reduced to a political football match, and we can't actually talk about what matters, which is justice for the survivor. Susie Ben?
This, Barkha, let me assure you, this is no political protection. This is a judicial process, as I rightly said. There is no Congress and BJP here. As I said, and I am very firm today, that if CBI doesn't appeal soonest to the against this order, we will, as a third important partner of NDA, will leave no stone unturned to ensure that this order is appealed against. Now, our friend, my dear learned colleague, has some doubts about the CBI. But as far as this is concerned, this particular case is concerned, I think none of us, whether CBI, whether the NDA, whether the UPA, whether the India Agadi, will stand with such a ghastly crime and a convict who deserves nothing less than life imprisonment, if
Okay.
not hanging by death.
Thank you for that. Before I take last comments from all three of you, you know what really moved me is that this young woman ran the gamut of emotions in her interview with me, from wanting to take her own life, but then saying to herself, I will trust India's judicial process. She has that trust still. And she's planning, I don't know who will appeal to the Supreme Court, but she will. That's what she told me. And I just want to play out one more clip from my interview with her.
मुझे दुख है मैम, मेरे घर में शोक मचा हुआ है, मेरे घर में कोई कमाने नहीं जा पा रहा, मेरा हस्बैंड घर में बैठा डर गया है कि मेरे वाइफ के साथ सुरक्षा है, लेकिन मेरे साथ तो नहीं है, हम तो असुरक्षित हैं, हमें तो कहीं भी रास्ते मार दिया जा सकता है।
आगे क्या करने का सोच रही हैं?
मेरा आगे ही करने का, मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाऊंगी और मुझे सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे आंख बंद करके भरोसा है कि मुझे न्याय मिलेगा।
मुझे सुप्रीम कोर्ट से आंख बंद करके विश्वास है कि मुझे न्याय मिलेगा। I close my eyes and trust the Supreme Court blindly that I will get justice. This should really make all of us very emotional, that after 9 years of the horror that she's been through, raped, gang raped, father killed, lawyer dies in a car crash, 2 aunts die in a car crash, she attempts self-immolation before anybody notices her, she writes to the Chief Justice. This lady is still saying, I believe in the Supreme Court. Before I give Justice Banerjee the last word on what sort of onus that creates on our judicial system to make sure that women who have to fight so long and hard get justice, quick closing comments. I'll start with you, Susie Ben. You've said that if the CBI doesn't appeal, your party will. Are you serious about that?
The party will ensure that it is brought to the attention of the CBI, if not soon as. I don't think that position will come, but if it comes to it, we will appeal for sure, because this is not about Congress, BJP, CBI. It is the respect to womanhood, to justice. When you show a lady blinded with the lady standing with equal balance standing in her hand, we believe in that. Our survivor does, so do I, so do you, and every citizen of India. And we have to reinforce that.
Okay.
And as the party in governance, it is our duty to ensure that people feel safe. Justice should not only be done, but it seemed to be done.
Well, at the moment, it is befuddling. Mr. Pracha, the lady you are representing, she says, "Main aankh band karke Supreme Court jaungi." She remembers that the Chief Justice of India once helped her. She expects the same. Is that the plan now? Are you all appealing immediately? What are you thinking?
Well, I will have to burn extra midnight oil to ensure that her belief does not get shattered, because this is the belief of the common men of the country, common women of the country. But with central government, UP government, CBI, and this powerful lobby of politicians against her, I will have to really work extra hard. That's why it's taking some time, because I have to face all these adversaries. So it's taking some time from me. But as I said, prime responsibility of appealing against this order is not this victim. It is CBI. Because they are failing in their duty repeatedly, demonstratively, and there is a judgment. There is a judicial finding to this fact which holds the ground till date that CBI was hand in glove with Kuldeep Singh Sengar. I have to work extra hard so that this belief does not get diluted. We will work very hard.
Justice Banerjee, let me give you the last word. I think you agree with the fact that the CBI needs to take the lead on making the noise around this. And Mr. Pracha says it's not his primary responsibility. The CBI should have already been doing it. But to the young woman who says, "Main aankh band karke vishwas karti hu," I close my eyes and I expect the Supreme Court to give me justice, and I'm sure it will. It's very moving. It's also very terrifying, because the High Court, for all practical purposes, has failed her.
Thankfully, we have some faith in the judiciary still left. The judiciary has not been able to deliver. We have to look inwards. We have to look at the reasons. We have to reform ourselves. But the only glimmer of hope is that some people still have faith in the system, because once that faith is gone, that would be the end of democracy. in this country. The judicial system requires to introspect and mold itself to address issues like this. We cannot remain as insensitive as we are today.
Thank you for saying that. You've somebody who served as Chief Justice of 2 different high courts, and I do hope that the judicial fraternity pays heed to your very plain-spoken words. But above all, the bottom line tonight is that no woman should have to go through what this young woman has gone through. No woman should have to spend 9 years losing members of her family in an effort to get justice. See that justice be delivered and finally have it challenged by a judicial intervention that Justice Banerjee himself has said is a verdict that he would never have delivered, that is a case, that is a verdict, that is a slur on our system. And I don't think I need to add any more to that. To Mr. Paracha, good luck to you with this case. To Susie Ben, thank you for taking a position beyond politics on this. And to Justice Banerjee, thank you for your very blunt words. And to the survivor, we stand with you is all that I can say. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Namaskar and see you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.